be against them.
All right, that was the former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Bill Richardson, among other titles, with a message to this president. You want to go fight Iran, then you better go to Congress. I want to get a read on what he makes of that. The ranking member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, who was at the White House briefing yesterday in Iran. Of course, I'm talking about Texas Republican Congressman Mike McCaul. Sir, very good to have you. Thanks for taking the time.
Hey, Neil, thanks for having me.
The president seems to be handling this with an abundance of caution and just trying to take us off the ledge and from the ledge. What do you make of his handling of this thus far?
Well, I was invited yesterday to the White House. I commend him for inviting the top national security leaders in the Congress, both House, Senate, and bipartisan, quite frankly, to get our advice on moving forward with such a serious decision, which could lead to an escalation of war with Iran. I think he weighs this very heavily. I think at the end of the day, he did not think it was a proportionate response to what the Iranians did. I do think a measured response is necessary, but I do think he sort of stepped back for a minute to give the diplomacy a little more time so that we don't escalate the situation. The intelligence community will tell you that if we hit Iran and Iranians on Iranian soil, that we could really escalate the situation, have the people of Iran rally behind the Ayatollah.
All right, so if his response this morning or overnight was, we're not going to respond in kind, then I would assume, unless something changes, that holds. So what, is it back to sanctions? Is it back to what?
Well, there will be new sanctions issued on Iran. And I will say the president, by snapping back the sanctions, has crippled the Iranian economy. I think these additional sanctions will do the same. If I were going to maybe do strikes, perhaps the oil platforms in the Gulf, that would hurt them economically. Because the more they're hurt economically, it could collapse. And what he stands up for, the Iranian people over the Ayatollah, he does not want to see a nuclear Iran.
So he has been open to the possibility of even speaking to the Ayatollah if need be, and he has held open the possibility that maybe the Iranians might have erred in this original drone attack, that it wasn't coming from Tehran, that in fact it was coming from someone who had a trigger finger, whatever. And then again, with minutes to go, halting this strike that was ready to go. He's obviously trying to put this back in Iran's court to do and respond. We got a hint of that, Congressman, with the Iranians saying they could have shot down a U.S. military jet with 35 on board and did not. So maybe something's happening. What do you think?
Well, I think certainly if there were servicemen and women that were shot down, I think it would have been a much easier decision for him. It is important to note the United Nations Security Council is going to meet on this issue on Monday. I think he wants to get full support from our allies before he takes action in the region. This is not a president who's shy to use force, but I think he is being a little more thoughtful and measured and deliberate in his approach, because once you start this escalation, as the head of the IRGC, the general said, he's calling on the proxies to go to war. They would respond in kind, and we would escalate the entire tension between the two countries. So I think a little bit of a pause is probably not a bad idea here. I do think they should suffer for what they've done in the Gulf area and their provocation. But I think the president was exercising caution here.
Do you think right now, as things stand, Congressman, that the fact that oil markets didn't go nuts, that world markets didn't go nuts, that obviously the expectation is that cooler heads will prevail and then there's no crisis here. Do you think they're getting ahead of themselves?
I think the markets did respond positively to this. I don't think most people want to see us go to war in Iran, and the president knows that the American people are tired of wars in the Middle East. He also mentioned President Xi's interest in, I think 80% of their energy comes out of the Straits of Hormuz, how they ought to be bearing some of the burden here. And I think he's right about that. And so, you know, this is an intense situation. I got to tell you, Neil, it's one of the most sobering meetings I've been in with the president there, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the Secretary of State. And I think the president's using caution, but he's being patient, but his patience will wear thin, particularly if the Iranians continue in this provocation.
Now, we were talking to Ambassador Richardson, of course, who served under Bill Clinton, said you got to run this by Congress first. Well, you're in Congress. You're a major player, in fact, in Congress on these and other issues. Should he?
Well, the authorized use of military force would come through my committee. We take our Article I responsibility seriously. I would argue, though, that strikes have been done both under Clinton and Obama in the past without an AUMF. That would really apply if we engaged in hostile activities on the ground. And so I think it's premature, but I do think going through Congress is always a better route. But right now, it would be self-defense, which the president under Article II is fully authorized to do to defend the nation and American interests, which is what this drone strike was.
Chairman, thank you very, very much. Good talking to you again.
Thanks, Neil.
All right, meanwhile, Democrats are